Hey guys, Tetos here. In this video series we're going to talk about item build choices. Beginners in League of Legends often struggle to pick the right items. Usually they just look up a guide on Mobile Fire or LolKing, LolPro, anywhere else and just copy a guide one by one. But League of Legends is a very dynamic game and you probably should never build the same items in the same order in every game. Before I talk too much about what this format is about, let's just hit it off with the first episode. MR options for the top lane. In this case you might ask yourself, I'm playing top lane and I'm not quite sure what I should build to counteract the enemy AP threats, be it enemy top lane, enemy mid lane or maybe even AP jungler. You always have to take into account what champion you're playing, what the enemies are playing, and this is how you actually come to the conclusion what to build in League of Legends. In my opinion there are three specific options you can build as a top laner for magic resistance. The first is Spirit Visage, the next one is Banshee's Wail, and the last one is Locket of the Iron Solari, which not many people actually build. And also in this video I will try to sell you the Locket of the Iron Solari, so to say, because it's actually a pretty undervalued item, especially after the recent changes to Banshee's Wail, where the cooldown got nerfed heavily until the shield comes up again, the spell shield. Side-by-side comparisons of the three items show that actually Banshee's Wheel has 50 more HP, Spirit Visage and Locket Solari have the same amount of HP or bonus HP. Then magic resistance is the same for Spirit Visage and Banshee's Whale and slightly less for Locket of the Iron Solari. Now the cooldown reduction 10% is the same for Spirit Visage and Locket, while the health regeneration is different from item to item. We basically have to take into account the passives though, which are the most important, or actives in Locket's case, the most important aspects of the item. And also, last but not least, the price, because as you can see, they are roughly the same in cost. Actually, only the Locket is 50 gold more expensive. The other items are at the same price. And now we have to evaluate the passive or active effects of the items. For Spirit Visage, you get a very specific passive, to be honest, which increases your self-healing, regeneration, lifesteal and spell vamp by 20%. For Banshee's Wail, you get a spell shield passive, which blocks the next enemy ability and has a cooldown of 40 seconds. Also, if the spell shield gets popped, or if you get hit by an enemy champion, you get improved health regeneration. Locket of the Iron Solari actually has an aura and an active, as you can see. The aura gives every allied champion 20 MR and 10 health regeneration, while the active gives your allies a shield depending on the champion level. So it's pretty powerful actually, and you can definitely see the difference in the items. Some have more stats, for example Banshee's Wail and Spirit Visage have more stats, more raw stats, but the aura and the active seem more powerful for the Iron Solari. Taking the stats, passives, actives and aura and everything into account, you should come to the conclusion that it's not smart to pick up Spirit Visage on any champion, because you can't benefit from the unique passive in every scenario. For example, if you're playing top lane Lulu, this will be very bad pickup. If you're playing Renekton though, who has some self-healing on his Q spell, if you're playing a champion who likes to stack spell vamp and lifesteal, then you might pick up this item as well. For example, if you pick up a Gunblade, a Hextech Gunblade, you get lifesteal and spell vamp, and this unique passive of Spirit Visage will boost these stats even more. So that's a scenario where it makes sense to pick up Spirit Visage. For Banshee's Wail, it's also very apparent that the item doesn't have cooldown reduction. So if your champion is very good with cooldown reduction, you might prefer one of the other options. Also, the unique spell shield and health regeneration passive is good against poke, against sieges, but you have to keep in mind that if you're picking this item up against an enemy 6 who is spamming his bombs, you can just block one bomb every 40 seconds if you get hit. So the spell shield is not as effective as it could be. But if you are playing against an enemy team composition who has some CC abilities which they can use on you, and you want to block one CC so you don't get chain crowd controlled, it could be very good to pick up this item. Especially on an AD carry, for example, it could be good to pick up this item instead of a Quicksilver Sash. But keep in mind that it's quite expensive actually, and also might not be very good in your situation. Now we have the Locket of the Iron Solari, which is a very good item, a very undervalued item, especially in the top lane, because usually the support or the jungler will pick it up. But if they don't pick it up and you are playing against a rather heavy AP comp, or at least 1 to 2 AP threats with a lot of AoE damage, it can make a lot of sense to pick up this item. It can be very strong, especially if it has cooldown reduction, which Banshee's Wail does not have. As you can see, it has slightly less health than Banshee's Wail, but same amount as Spirit Visage. It costs almost the same gold. It has a bit less magic resistance, but the aura is so strong in teamfights, and the active as well. So if you're facing an enemy AoE comp who is doing a lot of area of effect damage, which means they do a lot of, or they have a lot of spells which damage your entire enemy team instead of just one target, then you might actually prefer this item over the other two choices. But remember that the active and the aura, they get less effective the more items you stack on the team. So if you have the Locket of the Iron Solari, but your support and your jungler also have Locket of the Iron Solari, it's not a good pickup because the aura doesn't work anymore in your team. Only one aura works on the entire team, but if, for example, you have the Locket and the jungler has a Locket, then you get his aura as well, so you get 20 aura as well, but the other allies won't get 2 or the effect of 2 auras. So keep that in mind, and remember that Locket of the Iron Solari is definitely a very good alternative to Banshee's Wail and Spirit Visage. I hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments if you like this format or not. I think many newcomers can learn a lot from the item builds, because the shop is actually very complicated in my opinion, and even though you have these guides telling you what to build and you have recommended items, you don't actually understand why you're building which item in which scenario, because you always have to adapt in League of Legends, and the people who adapt the best, they probably will win the game. So thanks for watching, hope you liked this video again, bye bye.